On December 20th, 2025, the international financial landscape experienced a significant development. The day began routinely, but soon, major networks reported a notable shift, prompting the global financial community to take careful notice. In a televised address from Lagos, Nigeria's finance minister announced a policy change. Nigeria would no longer accept the US dollar as the exclusive currency for crude oil sales, ending a long-standing practice. Nigeria would now accept a basket of currencies, including the Chinese yuan, Indian rupee, and a newly introduced digital currency developed by a coalition of emerging economies. This adjustment was intended to reflect evolving global economic dynamics and to provide Nigeria and its partners with greater flexibility in international trade. The Lagos Proclamation represented a direct change to the petrodollar system, which had supported American economic influence for decades. This announcement was noted in financial centers worldwide. In response, global markets adjusted, oil futures experienced volatility, and the dollar declined as investors reassessed their positions. The financial community began to analyze the potential outcomes of this development. For over 50 years, the petrodollar system had contributed to sustained demand for the dollar, enabling the US to finance deficits and maintain a significant international presence. This arrangement was a key element of the post-war global order. With this decision, Nigeria, Africa's largest economy and a major oil producer, altered a fundamental aspect of that system, indicating a shift in the global balance of economic power. Unlike previous efforts by individual nations, Nigeria acted as part of a coordinated group of emerging economies. This collective approach suggested a new phase in international economic relations, with influence extending beyond traditional Western powers. The global financial system was now presented with a credible alternative to the dollar-dominated framework. The effects of this change were both immediate and likely to be enduring. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in economic history introduced by a clear and deliberate statement from Lagos, one that is expected to influence the future of global finance for years to come. To truly grasp Nigeria's recent move on the global stage, we must journey back to the transformative era of the 1970s, when the petrodollar system was born, forever altering the world's economic landscape. After President Nixon decoupled the US dollar from gold, the United States quickly struck strategic deals with OPEC nations, persuading them to price oil exclusively in dollars. This move ensured a constant global demand for the American currency, making the dollar the backbone of international trade. With this system in place, America could finance its deficits with ease and project its power far beyond its borders, all while exporting inflation to other countries. The dollar became a pillar of US influence, enforced not just by economic agreements, but also by the ever-present threat of American military and political power. For developing nations, holding vast dollar reserves became both a necessity and a burden, exposing them to the whims of US policy and economic pressure, often limiting their own financial independence. Leaders who dared to challenge or bypass the dollar's dominance, such as Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi, ultimately faced dire consequences, serving as cautionary tales for others. But by 2025, the world had changed dramatically. China's rapid rise, the growing confidence of regional powers, and the emergence of new financial institutions all began to challenge long-standing US dominance. Nigeria's bold move was the culmination of these global trends, a clear sign that the world was finally ready to move beyond the financial architecture of the 20th century. The era of the petrodollar, which had shaped decades of global economics and politics, was now coming to an end, ushering in a new chapter for the world economy. Nigeria's decision was the result of nearly a decade of strategic coordination among emerging economies. Expanded BRICS Plus summits transformed a loose group into a formidable bloc, united by frustration with an inequitable global financial system. Their approach: first, de-dollarize bilateral trade, then, build new financial infrastructure, including a shared digital payment system and the new development bank. Nigeria's participation gave the project credibility as Africa's largest oil producer. Central bankers from Nigeria, China and India quietly coordinated, stress testing systems and preparing for Western retaliation. The Lagos Proclamation was the public unveiling of a long-planned alternative. This was not just about oil, but about creating a multipolar financial world. The bloc's strength lay in unity. No longer could a single challenger be isolated and punished. Now, two parallel systems existed, and Nigeria was the crucial bridge between them. The global financial order had fundamentally shifted. History rhymes in the crisis of 2025, echoing the decline of Rome and the British Empire. Like Rome, the US faces internal strains, debt, division, and a currency seen as unsustainable. The Suez Crisis of 1956 marked Britain's fall. The Lagos Proclamation may be remembered as America's Suez moment. But this transition is different. America isn't being replaced by a single power, but by a constellation of rising nations. The BRICS Plus bloc seeks not conquest, but a balanced multipolar system. America's reliance on sanctions and military threats now appears misaligned with the new reality. Coercion, once effective, now drives nations toward alternatives. The US, like Britain before it, struggles to adapt to a world no longer centered on its terms. The global center of gravity is shifting. The age of unchallenged American dominance is over. In Nigeria, the announcement sparked national pride and a sense of long overdue independence. Decades of dollar dependence felt like neo-colonialism. Now, leaders framed the move as a sovereign right. The policy was celebrated as a step toward a more resilient, self-sufficient Africa. American threats only strengthened national resolve, uniting the country behind its government. Some worried about short-term risks, but the government had prepared, launching campaigns to stabilize the Naira and support businesses. Backing from China and India provided crucial support. Nigeria's stand became a symbol of sovereignty and dignity for the global south. The country was not just changing currencies, it was asserting its right to shape its own future. As Washington threatened, Europe's response was muted. Germany, France, and the UK called for dialogue, revealing cracks in the transatlantic alliance. European leaders had long resented the dollar's dominance and US sanctions that hurt their own economies. Germany feared trade disruption. France saw an opportunity for European autonomy. Britain, post-Brexit, sought flexibility. London's financial sector eyed new opportunities in non-dollar trade. The US threat seemed outdated and Europe hesitated to be anchored to a fading system. The lack of unity exposed America's waning influence. The West's house was divided, giving space for a new multipolar order to rise. The Lagos Proclamation didn't cause America's decline. It revealed cracks long in the making. The unipolar order rested on military, technological, cultural, and economic supremacy, all now eroding. Endless wars and China's tech rise challenged US dominance. Weaponizing the dollar backfired, accelerating de-dollarization as nations sought alternatives. America's soft power faded amid polarization and unilateralism. Nigeria's move was unthinkable a decade ago, but the world had grown more diverse and fragmented. The Lagos Proclamation was the most dramatic sign of this new reality. The world acknowledged that American dominance was no longer unchallengeable. The unipolar era had ended. December 2025 marks a turning point, a moment when the world pauses to reflect on the end of an era and the dawn of something new. The world has moved decisively beyond the era of a single superpower dominating global affairs. No longer does one nation set the rules for all. Nigeria's bold break from the petrodollar system and America's inability to reverse this historic shift signals the arrival of a truly multipolar age, where influence is shared and negotiated. Power now lies in the complex interplay between the US, China, the European Union, and a rapidly rising global South, whose voices are growing louder and more influential. For America, nostalgia for past dominance and reliance on force are dead ends. Adaptation, and reinvention are now essential for relevance. The US must learn to lead by persuasion, building coalitions and partnerships, not by assumption or coercion. The BRICS Plus system isn't anti-American, but post-American, reflecting a world where many voices shape the future. It is designed for a world of diffuse, shared power, where no single currency or nation dominates. The challenge ahead is to manage competition between old and new systems, avoiding catastrophe and fostering coexistence so that progress is possible for all. The Lagos Proclamation shattered the illusion of America's permanent empire, inspiring others to seek new paths. The world is now more complex, interconnected, and representative than ever before, with the promise of a more balanced, inclusive global order on the horizon. The age of the dollar empire is over. Its legacy remains, but its dominance has faded. The task now is to navigate this new multipolar world, one filled with both uncertainty and opportunity for all.